Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Book Mice. Today we are going to be doing I have 20 at the moment, but it's probably going to get to 25 by the time the year starts. So the so far 20 books that I want to read in 2025. I have very bad luck very bad habit of not completing these lists because I make the list at the beginning of the year and then by the middle of the year I don't want to read anything on the list. So what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to pick 20 books. I'm going to leave the last 5 for anything that during the year I want to read, I know I want to read, and I will add it to the list. And that'll be good. So at this point, I didn't even get through half of the books I wanted to read in 2024. Let's see, how many did I read? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3. And I don't really have a plan of reading many more in the month of December. I have Crown of Midnight on my 24 to read in 2024, and I might get to that in December because I've been watching more TikTok, and Larry Reads has been putting up TikToks about her read through the Throne of Glass series, and it kind of makes me want to pick it up again, but we'll see how that goes. So these are the definite books that I want to pick up in 2025, which I cannot believe it is already 2025. That's just, my mind is blown. But some of these are new releases for 2025. Some of these are old ones that I don't have but I want to read, and some of them are books that I have. A few of them are books that I have, not a lot. So the first book on my list is Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. I got this gorgeous book for my birthday last year, and I do want to read this series. I actually got all 3 books. I got Daughter of the Pirate King, I got Daughter of the Siren Queen, and Vengeance of the Pirate Queen. So I do want to read those, but I definitely want to at least get to Daughter of the Pirate King next year. I don't know much about this. I've just heard it's really good. So, sent on a mission to retrieve an ancient hidden map, the key to a legendary treasure trove, 17-year-old pirate captain Alosa deliberately allows herself to be captured by her enemies, giving her the perfect opportunity to search their ship. More than a match for the ruthless pirate crew, Alosa has only one thing standing between her and the map: her captive, the unexpectedly clever and unfairly attractive first mate Ryden. But not to worry, for Alosa has a few tricks up her sleeve, and no lone pirate can stop the Daughter of the Pirate King. So this is very much reminding me of Fable by Adrienne Young, which I loved. So do want to pick this up next year. The next book on my list is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This is the 3rd book in the Empyrean series. So this follows Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Not going to really give you a summary on Onyx Storm because it's the 3rd book in the series and is set to come out January 21st. I have already pre-ordered my copy and I am waiting on the edge of my seat. Fourth Wing follows Violet, who is forced to join the Riders Quadrant at Basgiath War College by her mother, who is a general in the army. There she meets her enemy, Xaden, whose father was the head of the rebellion, and as a result his father was killed by Violet's mother. So there's contention there. You have dragons, you have a war college, you have trials and battles, and I love the series and I cannot wait for the 3rd book to come out. Then we have Wild Side by Elsie Silver. This is set to come out March 4th. This is the 3rd book in the Rose Hill series, which I just discovered is only going to be 4 books long. So 2nd to last book, set to come out March 4th. Hopefully the 4th book also comes out next year, but who knows. This one is a marriage of convenience between Reese and Tabby, who runs the town bistro, and Tabby is trying to gain guardianship of her nephew, but when that is contested, she sets out to ensure that she can keep him in Rose Hill. That sounds amazing. I cannot wait. I loved Wild Love and Wild Eyes. I gave Wild Eyes 5 stars. Wild Love was 4 stars. It is an amazing series and cannot wait to continue. The next one is The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. This is set to come out July 15th. This is in the same world as The Spell Shop, which I read this year and I loved. I gave it 5 stars. It is a gorgeous story. And this one follows Turlu Perna, who broke the law because she was lonely. She cast a spell and created a magically sentient spider plant, and as punishment she was turned into a wooden statue and tucked away into an alcove in the north reading room of the Great Library of Elysium. That should have been the end of her story. Yet one day Turlu awakes in the cold of winter on a nearly deserted island full of hundreds of magical greenhouses. She's starving and freezing, and the only other human on the island is a grumpy gardener. To her surprise, he offers Turlu a place to sleep, clean clothes, and freshly baked honey cakes, at least until she's ready to sail home. But Turlu can't return home and doesn't want to. The greenhouses are a dream come true, each more wondrous than the next. When she learns that the magic that sustains them is failing, causing the death of everything within them, Turlu knows she must help, even if that means breaking the law again. This time, though, she isn't alone. Assisted by the gardener and Ascendant Rose, Turlu must unravel the secrets of a long-dead sorcerer if she wants to save the island and have a fresh chance at happiness and love. So I love this. It's meant to be a story about giving second chances to others and to yourself, and I loved the spell shop, so this just sounds just as magical and just as good. The next one is The Love Haters by Catherine Center. This is set to come out May 28th. This follows Katie Vaughn, who is a video producer and takes a career-making gig profiling Tom Hutchison, a Coast Guard rescue swimmer in Key West. Only problem is she can't swim, but it seems paradise is messier than it seems. Katie gets entangled with Hutch, the most scientifically good-looking man she has ever seen, but also a bit of a love hater. Along with his colorful Aunt Ro, his rescue Great Dane, she gets trapped in a lie or two. Swim lessons, helicopter flights, conga lines, drinking contests, hurricanes, and stolen kisses ensue, along with chances to tell the truth, to face old fears, and to be truly brave at last. I love Catherine Center, so this book just sounded so good, and I cannot wait for it to come out next year so that I can pick it up. The next one is The Baby Dragon Cafe by Amna Koresh, which is said to come out January 16th. This is said to be perfect for fans of the Pumpkin Spice Cafe and Legends and Lattes, and I loved both of those books. So this is about a woman who opens up her cafe for baby dragons and their humans, only she wasn't expecting it to be so hard to keep the cafe going, mostly because baby dragons tend to set furniture on fire and she can't keep up with replacing it. And then there is Aiden, who's the local gardener, who is more interested in spending time with his plants than taking care of his disobedient baby dragon. So when he comes into Saphira's cafe, he has the great idea of having her train his dragon, and he'll pair enough to keep the cafe afloat. So we have a grumpy sunshine kind of relationship there, and I love the baby dragon aspect, and this just sounds so interesting. Next we have The Scarlet Veil by Shelby Maharin. This is the first book in the duology and The Shadowbred, which comes out March 25th, which is why I feel comfortable putting this on my want to read list. This follows Celie Tremblay from The Serpent and Dove trilogy. This is part of that world. She's always been a good girl, kind and beautiful, a daughter of whom every parent would be proud. But she surprises the entire kingdom when she defies tradition and becomes the first huntswoman, including her new captain and fiance Jean-Luc, who rules the huntsmen with an iron fist. And unfortunately, though her friends and her fiance try to protect her from her past, mysterious whispers still haunt her, and a new evil is rising in Belterra, leaving bodies in its wake, each one drained of blood. So I loved Serpent and Dove, and I loved that world. I just read Gods and Monsters and Blood and Honey. Those are backwards. Blood and Honey is first, but I read them last year and loved them. So I do want to dive back into that world and see the characters again. I think it'll be so much fun. The next book is a novel love story by Ashley Poston. This has been all over BookTube, and I have loved hearing about what the book's about, and so I do want to pick this up. This will be my first Ashley Poston book, so if I enjoy this one, maybe I'll pick up her other ones. So this one follows a professor of literature who finds herself caught up in fiction, literally. Her name's Elaine. When her car unexpectedly breaks down on the way to her annual book club retreat, she finds herself stranded in a quaint town that feels like it's right out of a novel. Because it is. The town of her favorite romance series, where the candy store's honey taffy is always sweet, the local bar's burgers are always a little burnt, and rain always comes in the afternoon. It feels like home. It's perfect and perfectly frozen, trapped in the late author's last unfinished story. Elsie is sure that's why she must be here, to help bring the town to its storybook ending. Except there is a character in town that she can't place. A grumpy bookstore owner with mint green eyes, an irritatingly sexy mouth, and impeccable taste in novels. And he does not want her finishing this book, which is a problem because Elsie is beginning to think the town's happily ever after might just be intertwined with her own. So that just sounds really good. I love a book where you are trapped in a town from your favorite book, or even in your favorite book, and you have to figure out how to get out and get through it. Sounds just really like an interesting plot point. So very much look forward to that. The next one is a popular book. It's The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. So this follows the adopted human daughter of a night-born vampire king, and she has to go through these trials to become something more than prey. A legendary tournament held by the goddess of death herself. To survive, she is forced to make an alliance with a mysterious rival. So he's a ruthless vampire, she's a human, and it's a fantasy romance. So I very much look forward to that. Then we have Flock by Kate Stewart. I have to tell you, I have no idea what this book is about. Even reading the summary doesn't make sense to me. I've just seen so many TikToks about it, so many great reactions to reading this book and the series that I have to pick it up, but I have no clue what it is. The summary makes no sense to me at all. Then we have Little Sister by Patricia McDonald. This is a reread. I read this book so long ago, I can't even tell you how long, but I lost my copy of it somehow, some way, between moving between the 3 houses. I lost my copy, and for the life of me, for the longest time, I couldn't remember the name of the book or who wrote the book. All I could remember was what the book was about. But I found this book this year, I think, and I really want to pick it up next year. So it's 2 estranged sisters, 1 obsessive boyfriend, a dark secret that could destroy them all. This follows Beth, who has the perfect life. She's the one who escaped her bleak hometown, and now she's got a successful business, a devoted boyfriend, and her dream home. Then one phone call changes it all. Her father's dead, and Beth must go back home to Maine to take care of her 14-year-old little sister, who she hasn't seen in 8 years. Her little sister is dating a dangerous man. He's too old for her, obsessive and controlling, and he'll do anything to keep her little sister to himself. This one, I just remember feeling so captivated by the story. I don't remember anything from this book except how much I enjoyed it, and I do want to pick it up, and that one is on Kindle Unlimited, so I cannot wait for that. Then we have Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. This is another one that's widely popular. It has been turned into a movie series. It's part of the Robert Langdon series, a world-renowned Harvard symbologist. Robert Langdon is summoned to a Swiss research facility to analyze a mysterious symbol, discovering evidence of the unimaginable, the resurgence of an ancient secret brotherhood known as the Illuminati, the most powerful underground organization ever to walk the earth. So this is a thriller series, careens from enlightening epiphanies to dark truths to the battle between science and religion turns to war. So I did start that book this year for a readathon, and I never finished it, but I was enjoying it, what I read, but it was time for me to return it to the library, so I had to do that. But I do look forward to picking it back up and finishing that book. The next one on my list is The Lost Story by Mike Schaefer. This is said to be inspired by the Chronicles of Narnia, and it's a wild and wondrous novel, a fairy tale for grown-ups who still knock on the back of wardrobes just in case. So this is another book by the author who wrote The Wishing Game, which was a 5-star read for me. I believe it was the year before, last year, and I loved it. So this follows Jeremy Cox and Raph Howell, who went missing in West Virginia, only to mysteriously reappear 6 months later with no explanation for where they'd gone or how they'd survived. And then 15 years later, Raph's a reclusive artist who still bears scars of inside and out but has no memory of what happened. Meanwhile, Jeremy's become a famed missing persons investigator. With his uncanny abilities, he's the one person who can help vet tech Emily Wendell find her sister, who vanished in the very same forest as Raph and Jeremy. Jeremy alone knows the fantastical truth about the disappearances, for while the rest of the world was searching for them, the 2 missing boys were in a magical realm filled with impossible beauty and terrible danger. He believes it is there that they will find Emily's sister. However, Jeremy has kept Raph in the dark since their return for his own inscrutable reasons. But the time for burying secrets comes to an end as the quest for Emily's sister begins. The former Lost Boys must confront their shared past, no matter how traumatic the memories. Alongside headstrong Emily, Raph and Jeremy must return to the enchanted world they called home for 6 months. For only then can they get back everything and everyone they've lost. So I'm curious. This seems like a really good time, and I do really want to pick this up. I meant to pick it up this year, but obviously things didn't work out. So hopefully with it on this list, I will pick it up next year. The next one is by another author that I really enjoyed. This is The Royals Upstairs by Karina Halley. This follows the royal bodyguard and the royal nanny, and the attraction between them, that's a royal pain. Okay, so this follows James Hunter, who has a new job as the royal bodyguard to Prince Magnus of Norway, only to discover he's stuck on a royal estate in the middle of nowhere, charged with chasing after demon children and dodging the machinations of meddling staff. And the cherry on top is that the nanny to the children is Layla Brissett, the woman whose heart he broke, and the woman who still holds his. So Layla took the job as the nanny to the Norwegian royal children in order to be closer to her ailing grandmother in Oslo, only to have James show up and their tension to. So James and Layla will have to decide how much they're willing to risk to get a second chance at love. This next one is a twisty one. This is Bloodshed by Molly Doyle. This is the first full-length novel of the Order of the Unseen. The first would be a novella called Scream for Us, and then the novel is followed by Melt for Us. I've read Scream for Us twice. It's really short, dark, spicy little romance novella. So I decided I also wanted to pick up Bloodshed, and this is more of a full-length delve into the characters from Scream for Us. Let me just read this, it's short. We like to believe monsters don't exist even in the moonlit streets of a place like Salem, Massachusetts, but they're very real and very human. There's danger lurking around every corner. People are vanishing off the street into thin air, never to be seen again. The masked men have their own secrets, but it isn't until the night that they all come together when true horror is born. College student Quinn did not expect her Halloween night to take a dangerous turn. When her masked men swoop in and make her a proposition, she can only promise one night. By sunrise, it's over. But would it be? So that was Scream for Us. Quinn has to make the choice by the end of Halloween night if she wants to stay with the four guys. It's a wide choose. And we'll see what happens in Bloodshed, because I'm not sure. Next we have Wayward by Amelia Hart. This came out in 2023. This follows three extraordinary women across 5 centuries. You have Kate in 2019, Altha in 1619, and Violet in 1942. And I believe they're all waywards. So it's about female resilience and the transformative power of the natural world. So I'm very curious and I'm very interested. I haven't read a book where there are 3 timelines. I've read a book where it's dual timeline, so I'm hoping I enjoy this too, but we will see. It sounds great, and I love a good book about female resilience. So the next book is Mortal Arts by Annalee Huber. This is the second book in the Lady Darby mysteries. I read the first one, The Anonymous Wife, this year, and I really enjoyed it. So I do want to continue on with that series, and there are like 12 books in it, so I really need to catch up. But the series starts out being about Kayla, who's a widow. Her husband has died. He was an anatomist, and unfortunately he leaves her behind with a lot of scandal because he married her strictly so that she could illustrate his book of anatomy. And as a historical romance in that time, women are not expected to be exposed to stuff like that. So she has retreated to her sister and brother-in-law's castle in, I believe it's the Highlands. And that is where she is when her sister and brother-in-law are hosting a party and someone is killed. So she ends up volunteering to look at the body and help the man Gage, who is investigating the murder, as a way of also proving her innocence because the guests suspect she did it because of her past, or her suspected past. I really enjoyed it. There's also a little romance between her and Gage, although it is slow burn. Nothing has happened in the first book, so I very much look forward to finishing that series. I've heard it compared to the Veronica Speedwell series, so if you like that, you might want to check on this one. Next, we have Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. This is the first book in the Monsters series. I believe there is a 3rd book coming out. I'm not positive about that. Yes, called Once a Villain. So there is a 3rd one coming out. August 19th is when it's meant to come out. So this follows Joan, who is 16 and spending the summer in London with her late mother's eccentric family, only to find out that her family is not eccentric. They are monsters with terrifying hidden powers. And the boy she is interested in, Nick, is a monster hunter. So while Joan battles Nick in order to protect herself and her family, she also meets the ruthless and beautiful Erin Oliver, who is also a member of a rival monster family. So This just sounds really interesting. I have this edition and I also have the second book in the series, which is Never a Hero. And I have kind of put it off because I did know that the author was writing another book, and I'm not good at waiting on cliffhangers, and I don't know if the last book ends, if the second book ends in a cliffhanger. So I do want to pick this book up this year and then continue on with Never a Hero and Always a Villain. So very much looking forward to picking that up right now. The next one is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I received this in a fairy loot, and I've been very interested in reading it. This follows a 19-year-old Cigna who is orphaned as a baby, who has been raised by a string of guardians who have all mysteriously met an untimely end. So she is sent to live with her estranged relatives. The patriarch, who is mourning his late wife with extravagant parties and drinking, the son, who is struggling to retain control of the family's waning reputation, and the daughter, who is suffering from mysterious illness, only for the mother's spirit to come back and claim she was poisoned. So Cigna sets out to hunt down the killer of her aunt. However, her best chance of uncovering the killer is by creating an alliance with death itself. And I love that death is a personification. He is a person in this book. He's not just a thought, not a process. He is a person. And I believe there's a romance between Cigna and Death in this book, so I very much look forward to seeing how that works. And I believe he calls her a little bird, which I find interesting. And the final book is The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. This is the first book in Hell's Library. I believe it's a trilogy, and I started reading this book and I got 100 pages in and I was really enjoying it, but again, had to return it to the library. So I do want to pick this book back up next year and finish it. This follows Claire, who is named the head library of the Unwritten Ring of Hell's Library. It's a neutral space in hell where all the stories unfinished by their authors reside, and her job consists mainly of repairing and organizing the books, but also of keeping an eye on the restless stories that risk materializing as characters and escaping the library. When a hero escapes from his book and goes in search of his author, Claire must track and capture him with the help of former muse and current assistant Brevity and nervous demon courier Leo. But what should have been a simple retrieval goes horrifyingly wrong when the terrifyingly angelic Ramil attacks them, convinced that they hold the Devil's Bible. The text of the Devil's Bible is a powerful weapon in the power struggle between heaven and hell, so it falls to the librarians to find a book with the power to reshape the boundaries between heaven, hell, and earth. So this just sounds really interesting. I love any book about a library, so I knew I was going to pick this up because of that. And that so far are the books that I plan on reading next year. I'm sure I will find more and I'll update you guys when I do, but so far it's 20 for 2025 because I really want to set myself up for success and I want to read all 20 of these books, and I don't know that I'd read 25 books chosen at the end of the following year into the beginning of the new year. So we'll see how that goes. Let me know down below if there are any books that you're interested in. Do you have any recommendations that you think I should definitely pick up next year? Or did you like any of these books? Do you recommend I definitely pick them up? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day or night wherever you are, and don't forget to pick up a good book. Bye.